this week I'm going to show you guys how I make a sourdough loaf. I'm going to talk you through my entire process, talk about my starter. I made this from scratch, and go through the entire process and what my sourdough journey has looked like. I decided to start making sourdough in November of last year, just on a whim. I don't know why, but suddenly I was like, I need to be a sourdough girl. So I started a starter, and let's just say it was awful and it failed so miserably. Now here I am. I have been making successful loaves. We are going to try something a little different today because my loaves have not been like as fluffy. Is the only way I can describe it. Like, they're not as fluffy as I want. So we're gonna do something a little different than usual, but my recipe is from this girl on TikTok. I can't remember her name. I think it's like Lauren. I will link her video, the sourdough one, down below. Also, if you're making your own starter, she has a video on that. I'll link them both. She is all to credit for my sourdough and like it being successful at all. So let's just get started. Here is my starter. I fed it this morning. This is where it started, and then here's where it has grown up to, and it is at the perfect point. Like, it is definitely just peaked. So we're gonna get started. I do use my KitchenAid to like do the initial mixing, just because why not. So this is the bowl I use. It's like one of the smaller ones. There's two KitchenAid bowls that I have, and I just use this small one. And I also have a scale. I only ever use a scale when I'm actually making the sourdough. I don't measure how much I put into my starter, like when I'm feeding it, which that's a whole other thing we can talk about. But let's just get started. Let me actually put my hair up really quick. So first I need 100 grams of my starter. I think my spatulas are literally in the wash, so let me find something to get it out with. I also am going to look up the recipe video again just to make sure I'm doing this all right. Okay, now we're doing 390 grams of water. I use bottled water, and the only reason I do is because I have this big case of bottled water and I never use it. And I just use it now because it's room temperature and you need room temperature water, so that's what I'm gonna use. Here's a bottle, so we're just gonna pour this until we get to 390. It's like almost the whole bottle, but not quite. I really don't want to mess this up because it's hard to get the water back out, I feel like, because it's already started to mix with the starter. I'm like holding my breath. Okay, wait. We're at 390. Now I'm gonna take one of these spoons and we're just going to mix all of this up. I don't know if this is like actually necessary to use one of these. I'm sure it's not. I just heard someone whistling outside. Anyways, I usually just mix this until it's all like dissolved in there. That's what they'll say. And it feels kind of weird to do it, but I just go until there's like no more chunks. Like when you kind of scrape along the bottom, you really don't get any like starter on your little thing. I wanted to call it a wand. Hold up, my dad's trying to FaceTime me, so hold on one second. Hello?
What did it?
Making sourdough. Okay, I had to tell my dad I would call him back in a minute, but it's all mixed and you probably can't see it right there. Let me actually, you know what I could do? I could just video this on my phone and so I can show you guys what it looks like. But it like high-key looks like milk, and usually, obviously, like I just did this and then I was on the phone for like a minute, so the bubbles went away, but usually there's like a ton of bubbles in there. So I'm gonna put this just like in the mixer so it's ready to go when I have the flour ready. This is the flour that I use. It's King Arthur unbleached all-purpose flour. And so when I first started doing sourdough, I was using bread flour, but it wasn't King Arthur. I don't know what brand it was, but I don't think it was unbleached, and I think that was where my issue was. And then the girl who, like the video that I watched, she uses, I'm pretty sure this exact brand, but everyone that makes bread uses King Arthur, and I don't know why, but I just, if that's what they use, that's what I'm gonna use. Like, I want my bread to work, so I'm just gonna do whatever they do. But I'm pretty sure it's very, very, very important that it's unbleached. I think you can use bread flour or all-purpose. I just stick to all-purpose. So now I'm going to measure out 590 grams into this little bowl. No, 510 grams. Scratch that. Oh my gosh, this is like the hardest part. Okay, 510 grams. And then we're gonna do 10 grams of salt. I'm gonna try to move the KitchenAid over here. Or actually, I should just move you guys, hold on. Okay, so now I'm gonna put the like dough hook thing in here. I might high-key mix this up again just because it's been a second. Okay, now I'm just going to add this into here and then we'll let it mix. I always spill it a little bit, but it's fine. Okay, now I'm just gonna put it on like 2 or 4 and let it mix until it's combined but not smooth. So like just when it's all combined, usually it doesn't combine all the way. I take it out and combine it with my hands a little bit, but like combined as much as I can. Okay, so it's basically all mixed. There's just like some flour on the edges. So I'm just gonna go ahead and do the rest with my hands just because I trust myself more than this sometimes. I try to get some cold water on my hands because I found that that helps it like not stick to your hands as bad. I'm just gonna go in with my beautiful, I just did my nails. So we're just gonna go in and make sure this is all good and combined. The joys of being a sourdough baker. I feel like my hands are constantly covered in flour, and so is my entire apartment and my kitchen, but you know, the things we do for bread. Now we have to try and get this off my hands, so BRB. Now that it's all combined, I'm going to put some plastic wrap over it. If you have like one of those shower caps, if you have a towel, I don't know. You can honestly probably put anything on it. I just use plastic wrap because that's what I have. Someone else find it so hard to rip this stuff. It's not supposed to be airtight. I think it's just supposed to be like, so it's covered from the elements. But now we're gonna let it rest for an hour. And so people will say like on your countertop or something. Personally, my apartment is far too cold for that. I found that the best place to put it is either in the oven with the light on or in the microwave with the door open so the light is on. Anywhere with like a light on it to keep it a little warm. I'm gonna do the microwave. Sorry if that's awful that I leave the door open, but the microwave's not going and it's just for the light. And we're just doing it for an hour, so it should be okay. I'm not really gonna use the KitchenAid anymore. That's like the only time you really mix, so you really don't need a KitchenAid. Like most people I watch make sourdough don't use a KitchenAid at all. I just think it's kind of fun. So while I'm cleaning up, let's talk about starters and how I made my starter. So starters are literally just flour and water. I had no idea that it was that simple. I thought it was like you had to get it from your great grandma and like she had to have started it 100 years ago, and that is actually not the case. Starters are both really easy but also really difficult. Again, I'm gonna link down below the video I used to get my starter started. I used her exact recipe. She does not measure, she does everything just kind of like eyeballing it and feeling it out. And at first when I heard that I was so confused, but it's so real. Like if you can get to understand like what's a good consistency for you and like your starter, there's no point measuring. You just kind of know like, oh, I need more flour, oh, I need more water. Which again, if you're like new, obviously it's hard, but I promise you'll like get to kind of get there and understand what I mean. I feed mine once a day. I feed it in the morning. So during the work week, I feed it pretty early because I'm up pretty early before work, but on the weekends I sleep in. So it doesn't need to be like the exact same time every day, just like around the same time I think is good. It took me probably like 2 months to really like get a starter that was active. Again, I made one and it failed and I had to make a whole nother one. But the hardest part for me was the temperature aspect. So I was doing everything right. I swear I was feeding it at the same times. I was feeding it the right kind of flour. I was feeding it the right amounts, like all the things that had a good consistency, but mine just would not consistently double, like it wouldn't get there. And it wasn't until I figured out that it just wasn't warm enough where I was that I like actually got it. So I was at home for Christmas break and I brought my starter with me because I was just so convinced I was gonna get it going and like be able to make loaves while I was home. And I found out that my parents' oven has a proof mode, which keeps the oven at like 80 degrees. And that's another like fact or thing to know. Sourdough starter likes to be, I think it's between like 75 and 85 degrees, something along those lines. And so like 80 degrees is just the sweet spot. The second we figured out there was a proof mode, we put the starter in there and y'all, it literally was blossoming. It was doing so good. It was so active. But then I knew I had to come back to my apartment and I don't have a proofing mode on my oven because that's not very normal, I don't think. So I had to get creative. I've tried a couple different things. I had one of those warming plates. That didn't work. It just literally cooked the bottom. And then I had this other thing that looks like a heating pad for your starter, but that was also kind of getting it a little too hot. It really needs to be in like an environment that's warm. And so that's when I figured out I could leave the oven light on or the microwave light on and it would work. But I have had to like tweak this a little bit because if I'm not home, I'm not gonna leave the oven light or the microwave light on because it'll like burn out and that doesn't seem like a good thing. So that's one thing that I think is really important to know. Like temperature means a lot and it depends on where you live. Like I live in South Carolina, my parents live in North Carolina, and it was probably about the same, but like there's people who live in California that can just leave it on their counter and like I could never do that because it's just not warm enough. It's also winter, keep in mind, so I'm sure in the summer it's so much easier. That's a really long-winded explanation and like description of my starter, but it's hard, it's difficult. It took me a minute to get there, so I'm trying to share like as much knowledge as I have. As we keep going through this process, I'll think of more things to share, but for now I'm gonna let it rest. I'm gonna clean up a little bit and I'll catch you guys in an hour. It is now time for stretch and folds, and this is where I'm going to be deviating from my recipe just a little bit. So before, I was doing 4 stretch and folds over the course of 2 hours. So every 30 minutes, I would do a stretch and fold, if that made sense. And I would just do 4 of them. So I'd do one, wait 30 minutes, do one, wait 30 minutes, so on and so forth. I'm gonna do 3 this time, and I'm still gonna do 30 minutes apart. But instead of 4, we're gonna do 3 and see if that changes how my bread turns out just a little bit. I will forget how many I've done. So this is me doing my first one, and I need to like write it down so I remember that I've already done one. Okay, let's get the loaf. Here's our dough. I'm gonna uncover it. It honestly looks no different. Hopefully you can see that, but it looks like no different than it did earlier, to be honest. And that's perfectly fine. So I'm going to, again, wet my hand just with like cold water to do my stretch and folds. And I'm literally just gonna pick it up and fold it over and do that 4 times. So I'll like pick it up, fold it, turn it, pick it up, fold it. You guys will see. Okay, pick it up, fold, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I'm gonna cover it back up and then I'll come back in 30 minutes. Number 2, here's what she's looking like. Okay, time for our 3rd and final stretch and fold. So after this, I'm going to bulk ferment my dough, which basically just means I'm going to put it back where it was and let it sit for between 3 and 5 hours. And I typically do mine for like 3 hours because usually by then it's like doubled and it's bubbly, but I think I need to do it for a little bit longer. Like I think I'm not doing it long enough. So my goal is to do it for the full 5 hours. Hello. It is obviously much later in the evening. I'm in my pajamas and I'm ready to go to bed. Hopefully my hair doesn't look crazy right now. But I am officially done bulk fermenting this loaf. I'm so tired. I think technically I have like 30 more minutes on my timer, but I don't care. I'm so sleepy. So it is definitely doubled in size. I think you're kind of looking for it to rise about 50%, although it's literally already starting to like deflate a little bit, which is probably not great, but that's okay. And then I'm gonna take all of this flour and we're just gonna sprinkle some on the counter. This is like where the messiness comes back in. And I'm not gonna lie, you guys, I do a bunch of flour because the last thing I want is this to stick to the counter. I want to give it as much stuff to work with as possible. Hoping this will be like a good satisfying plot. She's a bit sticky. Now I'm going to, of course, wet my hands. And I'm just gonna kind of stretch it out so it's like pretty stretched out. This is definitely a lot stickier than my loaves usually are, but I'm hoping that that's a good thing. Okay, so once it's all stretched out, then I take one side and fold it over, the other side and fold it over, and then I just kind of roll down where there's some flour. And then we're gonna do our push and pulls, which if I do these wrong, sue me, I don't even really know how to do them. Just gonna like push and pull it and like pull it underneath, kind of, and just do like a couple of these. I'm gonna grab some flour from here and just sprinkle it in the basket. Nothing like too crazy, just a little bit of it. I might do like one more push and pull just for good measure. And I'll just pick it up and plop it over. So this is like the bottom of it is on the top, if that makes sense. Let me wipe off my hands. Now we're going to take literally the same plastic wrap. I just used the same stuff the whole process. I'm going to cover this. And now we're going to cold proof. So that means I'm just literally gonna put it in the fridge for until I wake up in the morning. I think you're supposed to ideally do it between like, actually I have no idea. I think like 15 hours or like something like that, overnight. So we're gonna put this in and then kind of see like when I wake up. I'll probably bake it pretty soon after I wake up. Hello guys, it's the next day. The washer's still going because all I do all weekend is laundry, but we are here to finally bake our sourdough loaf. So it's currently 11:42. We put that loaf in the fridge at I think like 11 last night, so it's been a little over 12 hours. I'm pretty sure you want it to cold proof between like 12 and 15. I think I said the last night, but honestly I can't remember. So it has been officially 12 hours. I did already preheat my oven. So I have a Dutch oven and I put it in the oven and then I started preheating the oven. So the Dutch oven preheated with the oven. So now we're ready to get the dough out, score it, and put it in the Dutch oven. So here is our loaf. It's looking beautiful. So I'm just going to like plop it over onto this. Part is a little scary because you gotta like get it on there. Okay, gorge. Now I'm gonna go ahead and put some flour in this thing so we can like sprinkle it on top. Okay, how fun. I did wash my hands. I always feel the need to tell you guys, even though I would assume that you assumed I washed my hands. So as for scoring, I typically just score it like a cross, so like one down the middle and one across the side, but I'm gonna try something new and we're gonna do like a crescent score. So let's just see what happens. I feel like that's good enough. I don't know like how deep it should be. Clearly I'm also still learning things. Sometimes people do like a cute little extra one. Some people try to do like the little tree thing that people do. Okay, that looks so bad. Hold on. That looks so bad, but we're just gonna go with it and pray that this works out. Okay, now it's time to put it in the Dutch oven. So I'm going to probably not really show this because it's gonna be me over here, but I'm gonna take the Dutch oven out of the oven, take the top off, plop it in, and put it back in. Okay, now it's in the oven. I typically do 30 minutes covered, and then after 30 minutes, take the top of the Dutch oven off and let it cook for another 20. But again, we're trying new things today. So I'm gonna do 25 minutes for my first bake, and then we're gonna uncover it and I think do like 15 or 20. I'm trying to like cut the bake time down a little bit because I do think that I'm making it like a little bit too long. Again, who knows? Like so many things could just choose not to go right, but we're hoping for the best. And now I'm going to stress for the next 25 minutes until we get to see what's going on in there. I will catch up with you guys then. Okay, new angle. The timer officially went off, so it's been 25 minutes. We're going to uncover it and let it cook some more, but I thought I would give you guys a little like sneak peek of what it looks like when I uncover it. I'm so nervous. Now that it's uncovered, we're gonna let it go for like 15-ish minutes just to get like a nice golden brown color. So might be a little less than 15 minutes, but I'm so excited. It looked really good. I didn't even pay attention to if like the little decorative scoring even worked. And if it didn't, I honestly don't care. As long as it tastes good, I literally don't care what it looks like. Literally look at that. That looks so good. So I did take it out of the Dutch oven just so it would cool a little bit faster. I'm just gonna keep it on the stove. Stove's not too hot right now. And I think I need to let it cool for at least an hour. It's supposed to cool like all the way, but I have to know what it looks like in there. So we're probably gonna let it cool for like an hour and a half. I think I'm gonna go run some errands maybe to like kill the time because I need to know what it looks like. Oh. So yeah, I'll come back when I get to open it, and like you guys get to see this all so fast and I'm having to actually wait so long. But it looks really good. I'm really excited. And the little like decorative part kind of worked. Kind of. I'll know for next time to be like better, but it's looking yummy. It's about 2:30. So this has been resting for a little over an hour and a half. I can't remember what time I took it out, to be honest. It might be like 2 hours, but I'm going to cut this open. Let me take some pictures of it before I cut it open. Let me put it on the cutting board. I will say I don't really have a good like knife for sourdough. I do have one that's got the like, you know what I'm talking about? Whatever that's called. And that's what I've been using, but it's not perfect. Wait, the little decorative ones kind of worked. I'm just not realizing it kind of worked. Okay, I'm also going to film a like TikTok of me doing this too, so you guys will get the best of both worlds. I know I'm not going down the middle, but it's definitely not as like hard as I feel like my loaves usually are when I cut them, which could be a good thing or could be a bad thing. Guys, it is so much fluffier than my last ones. That's literally what I was wanting. It's definitely cooked all the way. fantastic. This one is so much like fluffier and lighter. I don't know if you guys can really tell on camera because I guess you're a little far away, but like this is so good. And I wish I had a video to show you of like my other ones. They just have not been soft in the middle. Like they're kind of hard to eat. And this one is so like light and fluffy. This is perfect. This one's like literally perfect. You guys, I can't get over how good this is. This is seriously the best sourdough I've ever had. I like want to start making another loaf. Oh my gosh. So that's where this video ends, you guys. I did it. I made a sourdough loaf and it was so good. If you guys are new to sourdough, if you're currently making sourdough or you're just like intrigued by the process, it is a lot of work, but it's also a lot of like fun and it's really good when you make it. I 1000% recommend making sourdough. Hopefully the tips and like things I talked about in this video will help you kind of see like step-by-step guide and all that stuff. Like I said, I'm gonna link down below the girls on TikTok that I watch that have also helped me out a little bit. So yeah, I'm just gonna sit here and keep eating this delicious sourdough. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you so soon. Love ya. Bye. My sourdough says bye. It's so good.